Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru. Yes, I got it. Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru. The 7 Spellblades, or whatever the title is. Oh, I just got done watching the first episode of Undead Girl Murder Farce, and I need something more straightforward, I guess, to, detoxify a little bit, or whatever you want to call it. Something straightforward without any, double speak, without too much dialogue in a row, some action, some mystery, some fun shonen, essentially. Some seinen shows are fine in moderation, but ultimately I really like just the sheer enjoyment of a good shonen, and this show seems to be exactly what I need. In the previous episode, not much really happened. We got introduced to the world somewhat. We know that it's fairly whimsical, fairly fairy tale-like, in that there aren't super strict rules to magic. The magic is very Harry Potter-like, that it can be essentially anything. At least so far. Perhaps some rules, some limitations to it will be introduced in the future. We know that the amount of magical power that you have is a thing. Some people have more, some people have less. And besides that, we were introduced to the school, where only 80% of students survive because the rest get consumed by magic in one way or another. And we got introduced to our cast of 6 people. Not 7, 6. I got a little bit of an explanation in the previous episode's comment that Nanatsu is like a form of 7 that refers to things, not people, or something like that. I can't claim to understand all of the specific things about Japanese language, but that's what I heard. So perhaps it's not about people, perhaps it's about some super weapons or something. Spellblades, I think they're called. I guess that might make sense, because nobody so far has been called a spellblade, and they really use wands more than their swords, so maybe it's about 7 magical swords. I don't know. In any case, please don't spoil anything more. Please, really. I'm glad that I got a little bit of context for how Japanese works, and I'm assuming it would have been obvious to a Japanese person reading the title, but it kind of sort of encroaches on the spoiler territory, so please refrain in the future. My Discord is here open for spoiler talk if you want, but not really the comments. Still leave a comment though, because YouTube really likes that. We got also introduced to our characters, which seems to be an interesting bunch. Our main character is not super strong, apparently, from what they say. He might very well become the strongest mage who ever lived by the end of the series. We don't know that. But it seems to be the usual trend with shonens. We have our holy, saintly samurai girl whose hair turns white, and who uses a dull blade and still manages to cut her enemies, and she's very dojiko, which is a nice contrast to what her archetype usually is. We have a Tan Ojo-sama, who again contrasts with the usual trope of Ojo-sama, and we have a couple of other characters, the seemingly musclehead who really likes vegetables. We don't know if he's really actually a musclehead though, but that's what he mostly looks like and behaves like, if tropes are to be followed and to be believed. We have the studious boy, I'm gonna say boy, but I have my suspicions, who's fairly antisocial and got here on his merit alone, because both his parents are non-magical. And we have a girl who's bleeding heart towards animals and creatures and monsters. And that essentially defines her. She's a very gentle soul. I guess that's another thing. I think that about sums it up. I really didn't want to boil water for tea, so I have to resort to some water with ice cubes. What else is there to be said? Right, some beginnings of a mystery, because someone put a spell on the animal-loving girl to make her run towards a monster. And we don't know who, we don't know why, we don't know what's the deal. Everybody kind of sort of hand-waved it. So there is certainly something going on in the background. And there is also someone who was sent to protect, to bodyguard our main character, which makes me believe he's an important person. How? Why? But he is. And I wonder how many of those mysteries will be resolved in this episode, or perhaps more will be introduced. That, of course, remains to be seen. And the most interesting person is by far probably the samurai girl. She already took part in a war at whatever age. She's very dojiko, as we've already established. She really doesn't have the demeanor of someone who was almost dying in a war, you know? And she comes from Asia. Not Asia. Not Asia. Asia. Don't be mistaken. It's completely non-Asia. But it is Asia. Probably Japan, because of course. I think that about sums up that previous episode. In today's episode, what do I expect? I don't really know. The previous one was mostly establishing the world and the characters, and it didn't really end in any way that would suggest anything in particular happening in this episode. So anything and everything can happen as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think I have anything more to say. So how about we just watch it, shall we? To do that, you will of course need your subs to follow along with me. Is the player in focus? It is. I will need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I will have to ask you guys for your support, monetary, for example, on Patreon, down in the description below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, cost nothing, helps a lot. And with that out of the way, we can start watching episode 2 of Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru. Nanaken? I don't know what the short name is for it, but we're gonna be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Alchemy. Of course he did. Oh, right, clock knocks. Oh, right, and she goes bathe herself in a fountain. Yeah, especially with the wand in hand. Is it? Why would it be? Oh, is it because he was near the fountain? Maybe? Don't you have a drying spell or something? Okay. I really like the lighting. And the music. Okay. That's a great opening. Please don't destroy it with J-pop. Our antagonists, probably. Riding brooms, of course. A lolly girl? Little sister, maybe? I love the drums. Teachers. Not CG skeletal dragon. Arena combat. There's probably gonna be a like a magic duel kind of arc here. Not duel, but you know what I mean. Coliseum and a bunch of students are competing for the first place. Sword arts online. Pete. Oh, he's a what was the term for a muggle-born wizard in Harry Potter? I don't know. In Polish, it's szlama, but I've no clue what it is in English. Athame. So it's not a sword, it's an athame. I wonder if it's an actual word that has a meaning. So a spell sword. The best class, no discussion. Athame. Of course. But you're probably too good. Who might you be? Cocky, aren't we? Yeah, you're not supposed to. She's been fighting in a war. If there's anybody who has experience, it's gonna be her. Yeah. Let the teacher decide then. Oh, burn. You better have some aloe vera spell. Of course he is. Probably both nobles. Shirirun? I can't help but think of Shell from Precon when I hear her name and her Shelly speech. Useful. How long until this rule gets broken? Fight with honor. Will you be able to? Or is she going to get serious? Yeah. Oh, okay, going just full strength. Transformation and all. Not for long. Yeah, that's good advice. Some great sound design, but a little too loud. Okay, CG environment. You really should have gotten a longer blade. A tiny little, what looks like a Misericordia against a... No, it's not a Misericordia. It's a Tanto-looking dagger, Wakizashi at most, versus a katana. Okay, we have the love interest. Very sudden, but sure. Why is she crying? Too much killing intent. Oh, interesting. You were about to fight seriously. It's not a really good anti-lethality spell if you can just break it by willing to be lethal. Is it? It's really not a great spell. It's like safety belt in a car that lets go when you crash really hard. Death of one of you. Nope. Because he doesn't want to die and also doesn't want to kill you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dull blades, protection spell, sure. We can fight for fun, absolutely. But if one of our lives is at stake, both our lives are at stake, why? Why would I do that? She's probably broken that way because of the war, but... I mean, that's what school is. You leave PE and you go straight to history. Frances Gilchrist. Yeah, just summon mobs to fight for you. Of course you would be. I like you. Sharp teeth. Okay, she's not gonna like it in this class. skin those alive. And they will transform. It evolves into a Venomoth. And try to survive. Yeah. No helping. That was the rule. No helping. Or, I guess no helping during cleanup. You don't have much magic, would be my guess. Okay, what are you doing? Why are you spending so much time on them? I guess she doesn't want any failures. Yep. She doesn't want to risk the cocoon turning black. So she feeds them all very, very slowly. And her concentration broken. It turns black. Flamma. Interesting. That's gonna be both her biggest strength and her biggest weakness, probably. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. Harem +1. Here are your friends. Our friends. Oh, here's the stalker. Nah, I think he chose very well. Yeah. And she's off. Is the dining room still on the ceiling? Because someone didn't want to fight her to the death. Yeah. Okay, what's he gonna see that he's not supposed to see? True. Hmm. And they're gonna get lost. Yeah, you really don't want to split up. Yep. The labyrinth is here. Don't you go in there. Too late. Whomst? Friend or foe? Foe. Friend? Dolor. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet. The femme fatale of the school. That's an interesting thesis. Mind control pheromones. Or something like that. So she's a succubus. Rejected. That makes him more worth pursuing, I'm assuming. The Bone Wall. A necromancer upperclassman? You look very old for a fifth year. Is this just hazing or actual danger? I guess we will learn that in the next episode. Oh, there is some music. Very, very low start. Very quiet start. That's a nice song. Again, percussion is very prominent, just like in the opening. Different kind, but still. There isn't that thumping drum. Oh, it's something in the music. I thought someone's knocking for a moment. JC Staff. Kadokawa. Does every single anime have some Kadokawa involvement in it? Soldier, I'm assuming it's about our not shinobi, samurai girl. Okay, so now how about we watch it again? Oh, sorry. Shall we? Yes, we shall. There. Yeah, we don't want YouTube to see some copyrighted material, would we? Waking up, brand new classes. Really nice visuals to the opening. And really nice intro in the music. Great camera work, great art. But I like the opening, I like the intro the most. I really like this style. Then, granted, it doesn't become J-pop, but it certainly becomes something much lighter and much more generic. I noticed this trend in anime openings, where the intro to the opening song is like heavy, right? There's some electric guitars, there's chorus, there's pipe organs, there's banging on the drums and all that jazz, and then the beat drops and generic fucking J-pop starts like it's a rom-com. I'm gonna say I'm kind of tired of that. Like, in this case, it's not as egregious because even the song that comes after the heavier intro, it's good. But I really miss the days, were there even any days, where openings weren't J-pop. I guess one thing that comes to mind first thing that comes to mind would be Call of the Night. It had some actual proper non-J-pop songs, both for the OP and the ED. Another thing that comes to mind would be Watamote opening. Still probably one of my favorite openings. Openings and endings to Overlord, also very high point, very high up there on my list of favorite openings and endings. Maybe it's just me who really doesn't like maybe not any, but most forms of pop. They're like the lowest common denominator of music. They're like a McDonald's cheeseburger of sound. Not even cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is too exciting. McDonald's hamburger without sauce because it's too spicy. Just the bun and the meat. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I really would like to see some more some more shows that try to experiment a little bit more with openings and endings. Like, give me an orchestral symphonical piece. Give me a heavy metal. Give me rap. Give me, I don't know, give me Mongolian throat singing, you know, whatever. Just not J-pop, I beg of you. I grow tired of J-pop in the openings. That was a bit of a rant, a bit of an aside, because it doesn't really pertain to this show in particular, but just a generic observation, I guess. Here's our succubus lady and the other guy. Yeah, this opening is actually nice. And still retains those, you know, heavy drums. Has some nice chimes, nice little bit of symphonic feeling to it almost. Almost like a lullaby. The melody is very lullaby-like, and I really, really like it. And there are, of course, higher points. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, yep. And I'm assuming an important part of this show will be exploring the labyrinth underneath the school. Actually, might as well note it down. Exploring the school labyrinth is a plot point. Sword Arts online class. It's the plague, so our sword art classes will be online. Install Zoom on your magical orb, and I don't know where I was going with that joke. Sword arts are the techniques performed using these athames. Athame. Athame. First thing that comes to mind, apage. Apage satanas. But athame sounds vaguely Greek. No, occultism. Okay, ceremonial blade. Gotcha. Athame is a ceremonial blade, generally with a black handle. It is the main ritual implement of or magical tool among several used in ceremonial magic traditions and by other neo-pagans, witchcraft, as well as satanic traditions. A black-handled knife called an arthame appears in certain versions of the Key of Solomon, a grimoire dating to the Renaissance. Proper use of the tool was started by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in the 20th century for the use of banishing rituals, and it was later adopted by Wiccans, Thelemites, and Satanists. Mentioned in the writings of Gerald Gardner in 1950s. Okay, so a ritual knife, essentially. Gotcha, makes sense. Do they have black handles, though? The use of atames as a complement to white wands dates back to 400 years ago. Sure, I guess, maybe. When a famous mage lost the duel to a non-magical because he was only using magic, and the non-magical guy just closed the distance and struck him with a blade. And yeah, it really does serve as a great companion. Because long range, sure, you have your spells, but close range, you're not exactly gonna summon a fireball because it's gonna explode in your face, so you need something. And when your incantation is particularly long, or maybe you're not done finishing the incantation and the enemy is closing distance, you pull out your athame and stab them. Makes perfect sense, making up for the certain deficiencies of magic. You can take one step and cut down your foe. Yep. One step, one spell distance. Gotcha. And we're gonna do some fighting. This guy is cocky. He's gonna be one of the antagonists, at least for a while, I'm assuming. Trying to fight with the best. No, let's not have you fight her. I'm gonna fight her instead. And the teacher just doesn't care, just doesn't give a shit. Let the kids argue, whatever. Whoever wants to fight, fight. Just settle it among yourselves. Perfectly teacher attitude. And McFarlane challenges him instead, and apparently she's really good, because she thinks the guy might be afraid of fighting her. Anti-lethality spell. This is the only form in which combat between students is allowed. The penalty for breaking this rule is harsh. Yeah. Okay. That's a really shitty spell, though. Can't afford to hold back against her, of course, because she doesn't hold back either. She doesn't know how to hold back. She's a soldier. She kills. She's not dueling. She doesn't know how to duel. She knows how to kill. So that's how she fights. Don't try to block, try to deflect. Very good advice. And Black Candle. That checks out. His Athame has a very inconsistent length, I noticed. Sometimes it's almost like a dagger. Sometimes it's like a longer wakizashi. Sometimes it has the length of a katana. What is the actual length of his blade, I wonder? In the source material, does he use like a super short dagger? Does he use like a full-scale normal Athame? Are Athame standardized between students so everybody uses the same length? Because it's inconsistent. Thankfully, his blade isn't double-sided, double-edged. Although in some shots it looks double-edged. She's killed people, of course. Yeah, she's blinking between student and soldier. That's a cool effect. That's a cool way to show that she's a warrior. Here... it was right here. What was right here? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I'm gonna freely admit, I don't get this whole sequence. Here, it was right here. She starts crying. I'm gonna stop her tears. We're gonna fight to the death. You have my thanks. We'll fight here until one of us dies. I don't know. Is it adaptation woes? Did they like completely went over something and didn't include it? Or was it just as confusing in the source material? Because I'm confused as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. He grasps his Athame back, smiles, and apparently now it's the duel to the death. And apparently the spell is really fucking garbage because it breaks when you have killing intent. A spell that's intended to stop people from killing each other breaks when a person has killing intent that's strong enough. Am I the only one who sees an issue with that? Now, thankfully, the teacher was here, noticed that... What was I just about to do? I don't know. You suddenly went, oh, we're gonna fight until one of us dies. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know what you were just about to do. Is it some sort of, I don't know, does she have some sort of mind control magic, a taunt essentially, that makes everybody around her want to fight to the death or something? Or is it just him letting out his inner psychopath? Or I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Now, her being so cheerful that, oh yeah, finally someone went all out. Someone that can actually match me in combat. Hell fucking yeah. As long as I've been a warrior, there haven't been that many people who can actually match me, who are actually a threat to me. I love fighting. Let's fight to the death. It makes sense on her part. Kinda, sorta, in a broken sort of a way, right? She's a broken person. But it makes sense. And at the same time, the delivery is so casual, right? The one thing I regret, though, is that we were unable to finish. I want to see what lies beyond that moment. It's as if she was talking about the kids they were about to share by the crepe stand, but someone disturbed them. And, oh, I want to know what lies beyond that moment. And she's talking about death. She wants to know what lies beyond getting a mortal wound. Beyond death, probably. Does she want to die? Does she have a death wish? I wonder. It could be either or. Either she has a death wish, but she wants to die in honorable combat, or she wants to, for once in her life, fight someone fully going all out, with both of them going all out, and for that someone to actually match her skill. Could be either. Why? I don't want to kill you, and I don't want you to kill me. And she's crying. Why? Why don't you want to die? Dying is so fun. Why don't you want to kill me? Killing is so fun. Again, I guess it makes sense in a broken sort of way. But what happened during the duel is very, not convoluted, but not really portrayed well, I don't think. Very confusing. Spellology class. We may just have no need of anything but our white wands. Sure. Solve your problems with magic. Absolutely. Unless someone closes the distance and wants to stab you. In that case, you probably should be able to stab them in return. If someone gets rid of your familiars, for example. You only have a finite supply of magic, I'm assuming. Afternoon classes, magical biology, of course, she's been looking forward to that, but it's not quite what it seems. You're not gonna learn about how to take care of pretty little cute animals. No, you're gonna learn about how to exploit those animals. Which I guess makes sense in a twisted sort of way. They really should be teaching about both. Because, like, when you go to learn how to be a farmer, when you go to a farmer's school, or whatever, they teach you how to shear your sheep, sure, but they also teach you how to take care of them. You know, if you don't take care of those silkworms, they will stop producing silk. Or they will just fucking die. So you should take care of them so that they can produce as much silk as possible. Feed them magic so they form a cocoon, but if it goes for too long, a moth spawns and you have to kill it because it turns into an evil monster. Of course, she has no issues. Of course, he has no issues. And she, of course, goes as delicately as possible, carefully feeding the magic really slowly so that none of the cocoons turns black. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, she doesn't care about the class, she just wants to save lives of as many of them as possible. So if she succeeds with all of them, she saves all of them. If she fails, case in point, then one of them will have to die. Still okay if I rip the cocoon off? Yes, actually, as soon as you see it turning black, you stop the magic flow, you take a knife and you cut it open. And it won't transform. You don't really have to burn it. And of course, there was a rule that you don't help each other clean up your messes. Why are all the tables empty now. Did everybody take the boxes and the everything else already? Probably, because she's the last one to finish. I don't want to be there either. They had a bunch of animals and demi-humans, even trolls, that she was friendly with. That implies a degree of sentience, perhaps. And of course, she wants to help them. I know that society needs to do these things to advance, but there are better ways of doing that, right? You don't need to burn failures, just ensure there are no failures. Simple, really. Everything without human rights is just a resource to exploit. I feel like there's some sort of a social commentary hidden there, but I'm not sure what kind. I don't want to accept what's normal here at Kimberly. Your childhood home must have been like growing up among angels in paradise. But you've come down to earth now. We've experienced the cruelty of this world, so we can't stay an angel anymore. He really says the darnest things. First he was like, oh yeah, let's fight to the death. Oh, what was going on? Then he's suddenly talking about, oh, you're an angel that came down to earth, but you chose to remain a kind person, and that makes you admirable. I'm not entirely getting him as a character, and I'm not entirely getting what he's saying. It feels like either large chunks of the dialogue, or at least smaller chunks of dialogue, are missing at times, or some other details are missing at times, or it feels like he's very, how should I say it? He's trying to be very wordier and very poignant and very, you know, not haughty, but very poetic just for the sake of being poetic. Without much actual substance to that. At times it seems like that, not always. And of course you're not alone, you have friends. Heading to Master Gwen's workshop. If you being here is so important to his safety, why isn't there a replacement coming? Can his brother really only afford one Stoker? Nanao is down. Of course she is, because, oh no, I won't be able to fight to the death with my friend. Kimberly's school building sits on top of a giant labyrinth that encroaches upon the building. That seems like making the school dangerous just for the sake of making the school dangerous, so far. Unless the purpose of the school is guarding that labyrinth. Possible, of course. But you'd think they would build the school somewhere else, or they would have had some precautions from that labyrinth encroaching, you know, some spells. Although, seeing how their anti-mortality, anti-lethality spell isn't really doing a great job at being anti-lethal, maybe whatever anti-maze spell they would cast, anti-labyrinth spell they would cast, wouldn't be really great at being anti-labyrinth. Not impossible. And after dark, of course, a dead end, and they're in the labyrinth. I guess that's their countermeasure. Instructors, teachers, and upperclassmen patrolling the labyrinth, searching for any lost sheep. But why would you send upperclassmen like that for a patrol? Ophelia Salvadori, and she's a succubus. Despicable succubus, because she's interbreeding Krakens and Scyllas, apparently. Yeah, why would you send a literal fucking succubus into the maze to be helping students? It really seemed... I was fine with the explanation that only 80% of students survive the school because magic is simply this dangerous, right? Magic is dangerous. One wrong flick of the wand and the vial of hydrochloric acid explodes in your face, right? Or, I know, you might be trying to get mandragora leaves and you get poisoned, or yada yada yada. Sure, it's dangerous, whatever. I can get behind that, but it seems like at least some of those deaths are caused by this sort of people, and it's allowed. It seems like the school is trying to be lethal on purpose. I wonder if it's actually a plot point that 20% of students die. Sure, but like half of those who die, 10% of the whole student body succumb to magic, and 10% are just sucked dry by a succubus lady in the maze. Because it really feels to me like the school is made dangerous on purpose. The school is made dangerous on purpose. Because if they wanted to lower the lethality, they absolutely could. They absolutely could. Have them fence with wooden swords, for example, or ethereal swords. You probably have magic to create an ethereal sword that's just a beam of light and doesn't actually hurt anything, right? If you could have built the school somewhere else, or had some countermeasures against the maze encroaching, or notify students about it, because Pete clearly didn't know about the maze encroaching being a thing. If you wanted to lower the lethality, you would oversee the magical biology class, and you'd be like, yeah, let's put some precautions, because we don't want students to be attacked by those bugs, right? Let's set up some traps, or let's bring a couple more instructors so that they can just zap the bugs as soon as they hatch, or even before they hatch, right? It really seems to me like they're violating the OSHA on purpose. And I wonder if it's actually a plot point or if it's a plot hole. Could be either. Could honestly be either at this point. They're running away, and a necromancer teacher just closes their way. And he doesn't seem like a nice person either. Like, unless there's some like actual motivation behind it, like this teacher is conspiring with the succubus lady, and they are under the orders of the shadow organization that has to take out our main character or something like that. Unless that's the cause for them doing this shit, I'm gonna have to question the methods this school implies and the people it hires. It's really getting me, so far, it's getting me out of that suspension of disbelief, you know? I'm sorry, but it does take me out of my suspension of disbelief to see school that can be made more safe, but willingly chooses to be more dangerous. Again, if it's actually a plot point, that's great. That's cool. Absolutely. I'd love it. But if it isn't, if it's never addressed, and the next episode, no, episode 2, Sword Arts. Edie. Next episode, Soldier. Probably about our samurai girl. Wait, I have something noted down. Assassin Left Eye Mole. Succubus lady, show yourself, please. No mole detected. Okay, so it's not her. Sure. that's the end of this episode. It was... I'm a little ambivalent, I'm gonna be honest with you. On one hand, I liked some of those moments. I liked some of those classes, I guess. Some of the character building, how we are getting more and more in depth into most of those characters, how we're slowly figuring out their social standing, their relationships, their positions, everything like that. I did like it. For the most part, though, confusion plays, I guess, the biggest fiddle in my feelings about this episode, though. I'm confused regarding the whole duel situation. I'm confused regarding our main character. I'm confused regarding the labyrinth and regarding the school. All of those points of confusion might be answered and solved soon enough. Sure, absolutely. But right now they mostly lead to confusion. And not in the mystery kind of way. Our main character and his background and his past, they are mysterious. Our main girl is also mysterious, her past and whatnot. But the school being more dangerous than it needs to be is just confusing. There hasn't been any element introduced that would lead me to believe it's a mystery as to why this school chooses willingly to be so dangerous. I'm confused as to why the school is so dangerous. It might be that the school being dangerous is actually a mystery, as I said, that it's actually on purpose, and the mystery is why. But it hasn't been established that that is the case. So it's just confusing. Overall, I guess it's another episode where I will have to see more to fully form my opinion about this show. I like the art, I like the animation, I do enjoy the characters for the most part. I'm just confused. I'm just confused. And again, I don't know if it's going to be a plot point or a plot hole. Especially about these schools' level of danger, so to speak. I hope it's a plot point. I sincerely hope it's a plot point. Because if it's a plot hole, it would be quite a fucking massive one, wouldn't it? But don't tell me which is it. That's for sure. Please, no spoilers. Let me discover it myself. I'm not going to drop the show. It's nothing of the sort. I'm gonna continue watching it. Ultimately, I still enjoy it. I'm just very, very confused. And it kind of seems like there are some chunks missing, and some people are talking like they were dropped on the floor as babies. At times. Again, at times. For the most part, everybody makes sense, but sometimes it's just like, what? What's going on? Why do you want to kill each other? What was that killing intent? Why the tears? Why? What the fuck about the angels? You know? Maybe it's just me being tired speaking. Tired of the fucking heat, 30 degrees in my room again. I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. But maybe you have a different opinion about this episode, about my theories, about my predictions, about my commentary, my reaction, whatever you want to talk to me about. Say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, stuff like that? No spoilers. As I said, if you want to talk spoilers, Discord is here, also linked in the description. You can join it and talk spoilers to your heart's content. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Nanatsu no... what's the title? Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru, but also Helck, Zom 100, Atelier, Ryza, and Undead Girl Murderface, and other, not Murderface, Murder Farce, and other shows that will be coming at you in the future. I also stream sometimes, so you might want to click the bell icon to be notified. Those gunpla out here are prepared to be built on stream live, for example, and sometimes I also stream gachas. Support the channel if you want monetarily, for example, on Patreon, down in the description below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Madoka Magica, Symphogear, and others, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits that you will see very shortly. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the list of my wonderful Patreons: QB Without a Net, Fruit, Zay, Rainer, Actomancer, Yuki Ally, Fassel, Dr. Watt, Marsh, and Hans Peter, and you can join their ranks without having to duel for it.